Hi guys, I am Vitold, and if you are wondering if the new Yamaha Tracer 9 is worth your attention, then you are in the right place, as I will tell you about top 9 reasons why it may totally be worth it. There are 9 points that I've gathered based on my experiences with the Tracer 9 GT, and there's actually no connection to the bike having the number 9 in its name. There is, or shortly after this video will be my other video presenting, let's call it another point of view, kind of a different point of view, by listing all the areas that may be a pain in the ass in a Tracer. So make sure to check it out, as some of those points can be fixed, but they are worth knowing up front for you to be able to assess which things are acceptable and which may not, and how they stand in comparison to what is great about this bike. That's what I'm about to tell you right now. Also, I just started an Instagram page to make it easier for you guys to talk to me directly. So if you'd like to ask or comment on something individually, anything in fact, head over there to the page called The Vitold. And you'll also find there's some fun stories that happened when I was riding plenty of different motorcycles over the past and right now as well. So the link is in the description. And now let's dive straight into the first point that is connected with a 890 cubic centimeter inline 3-cylinder engine of this Tracer 9. Same in the Tracer 9 and same in the Tracer 9 GT, there's no difference. Let me say that very clearly here. It provides better performance than many would expect it just by looking at the numbers. And it's got reasonably torquey low end, which makes it very similar to riding in environments like cities, to significantly more power motorcycles, like for example BMW S1000XR. There is 119 horsepower and 93 Newton meters of torque, and while it's not mind-blowing, it clearly is enough to make the Tracer exciting motorcycle that won't put you in an uncomfortable situation on the road when you're racing somebody, for example. I've got to say that I was quite surprised when I first rode the Tracer. I rolled the throttle wide open and this bike just freaking exploded forward. And it also did it in a completely, you might not expect it, but in a completely civilized way. And I did appreciate its traction control and how it prevented the bike from lifting its front wheel. There was total smoothness, full control, and just steadily exploding forward. And I think that if you are thinking about riding with a passenger and luggage, or if you like to push the bike and enjoy its performance, Tracer 9 can really give you that. The second reason for a potential interest in the Tracer 9 may be how light it feels. And I don't mean lifting it from the ground or pushing through a parking lot, but when riding it and changing directions. It really does everything you want it to do with ease. And sometimes even too easily, and sometimes even too eagerly, and it requires caution, as you can find yourself pushing it too far and getting in trouble at low speeds because of that. But the way it encourages you to play with itself is remarkable and really enjoyable. And I would say that engineers at Yamaha have done a really good job with the Tracer here. Now, right here I am referring to the bike with a semi-active suspension, as that's what the bike that I was riding was equipped with, that it was a Tracer 9 GT that comes straight with this kind of suspension. So yeah, if you are into a feeling like you can do anything with the bike, Tracer is very close to giving you that feeling, and it's tempting with also requiring not that many sacrifices at the same time. The third point is unusual, as Yamaha may surprise many of you with what kind of sometimes unexpected features they have added as standard or offered as factory options for the Tracer. If you didn't already know, wouldn't you be surprised that despite not really having that kind of a premium price, there are already height adjustable foot pegs, height adjustable handlebar, and a height adjustable seat? The adjustments aren't crazy and they won't suddenly make the Tracer fit every single one of us, and definitely not you tall beasts. But what a nice touch, in fact, right? The seat can be either at 81 or at 82.5 centimeters, which is pretty low still comparing to, for example, adventure motorcycles. And that's not the end. There can be a heated seat and heated grips with 10 different settings. That's regarding the grips. That may be an overkill, but at least there's a fun fact to be mentioned. And other things include cornering ABS and the handguards, which are standard on the Tracer actually. There are also some issues like a terrible windshield that Yamaha seems to be aware of, and instead of fixing it, they offer us another, maybe even working, who knows, another windshield if we pay for it. That's actually not very cool, but more on that you will find in the other video, so let's leave that at the moment. Still, there may be a quick shifter with downshifting, there may be cornering LED front lights and cruise control, so I would say not bad, and actually quite good considering it's a Yamaha and not any kind of a premium manufacturer. I know that sounded bad, but whatever. It is a clear advantage in my eyes and definitely a reason to be interested in the Tracer. Number 4 on the list may be more controversial, and it may find some of you guys disagreeing, and that's fine. Tracer in its newest form that appeared in 2021 looks quite nicely visually. So in plain words, I think it's a good looking motorcycle. It looks powerful, it also looks consistent, and it looks light at the same time, which reflects very well how it is to ride. And this is in large part thanks to its muffler located underneath the bike, which is unusual, instead of a bloody 10-liter Coca-Cola bottle hanging on a side and giving no sound except for some hissing. If it's not a beautifully sounding V2 engine, and it's not, so we cannot really enhance the sound to make it pure music, then I agree that getting rid of it and hiding the muffler may be pretty much the best thing to be done right now with all those emission standards. And Yamaha has done it, and so the bike looks consistent and clean from both sides, and I like that. I hope you do as well. And by the way, it doesn't sound that bad actually. To me, actually it sounds like maybe a bit better kind of thing than an average 4-cylinder motorcycle engine, and in fact it is quite cool when you are changing gears using a quick shifter. Just hear it for yourselves. Still, whether you like its design or not, it is totally up to you, but I am a living example that it may be a reason to take a look at the Tracer, and also literally. And I bloody love those blue or purple wheels that can be there on a Tracer. Now, the 5th reason to consider Tracer when looking for a motorcycle is that its suspension is pretty composed, and it makes the bike stay stable at speeds, basically regardless if the tarmac is perfectly flat or a bit uneven or damaged. Some of its competitors, well, they do get in trouble when things get more rough, and that's taking away a lot of confidence. But that's not the case here with the Tracer 9. I'm still also referring to the Tracer 9 GT version with a semi-active suspension. Some actually say that it may be slightly more comfortable than the standard suspension on a regular Tracer 9. I don't know that. I think it does a pretty good job in the GT version. It's not too harsh, while being still rather sporty. And it won't try to break your spine, but also don't expect it to fly over bumps like some other motorcycles like BMW R1250 GS or even S1000XR. I mean the second generation of the XR that soak up the bumps much more effectively, and I'm having actually a video coming about the differences between the first generation of the S1000XR and the second generation, which are huge, but they don't look like. Still, the Tracer is not jumpy, it is not nervous, and overall it is like a grown-up rather than a immature kiddo that would otherwise feel light to the point of being unstable. I've got to say that if you are coming off of any adventure motorcycle, you might need to adapt to it being slightly stiffer. But that is the point here. It's not an adventure motorcycle, in case you were wondering, that there is no ground clearance at just, I believe, 13.5 centimeters, and wheel travel in the front is just 13 centimeters, and in the back it's 13.7. Just compare that with 24.9 centimeters of ground clearance in a BMW F850 GS and over 20 centimeters of wheel travel. So you basically see that there's no comparison, and they are not going to get to the same spot of the road. Definitely the Tracer is not going far. Anyway, I'm impressed with how Yamaha tuned this suspension, and at this point I think, land the comment that I'm not surprised that so many of you guys decided to buy a Tracer 9. And that's even before the next point. It just does many things well, it positively surprises in certain areas, and it doesn't really fall in so many. And at least some of those faults can be fixed on our own. Just one cannot, but that's not the topic for now. And that's because now it's time for the 6th reason to buy a Tracer 9 or a Tracer 9 GT. And the word buy is the key here, as even despite the rising prices of everything from toilet paper to cars and motorcycles, when we compare what certain motorcycles are giving us and how they are priced, it may turn out that Yamaha Tracer 9 and Tracer 9 GT present a decent value for the money. I personally think that the main point that makes it a really good offer is that the performance of this motorcycle allows us to at times compare it with much more expensive bikes that are in the 1 liter category. Then, considering that it's not falling behind in any very significant category and only cannot be equipped with one, let's say, really cool feature that can be there in some other motorcycles, more or less expensive, I believe that for many riders it may be a very, very reasonable choice. As ridiculous as it sounds, in the case of any motorcycle where in fact everything is emotional when it comes to choices, this looks like a proposition that can successfully defend its price and make it a really justified purchase. I am quite convinced about this part, and this also may include the Tracer 9 GT. However, mostly if you are interested in getting additional side panniers anyway, and you would have to buy them for a regular Tracer 9 if you would have not gone for the GT version. Yeah, even despite that the Tracer is over 11,500 euros and the GT is over 14,000 euros, which is not that little money. Moving to the 7th point like a lightning, I know that since it's YouTube, I may only have one chance to say it the right way without offending anyone, so let me try. Yamaha sometimes implements some rather complicated technical or mechanical solutions, but it seems like Tracer has a pretty good record. It's got good reviews and a good reputation, and generally is liked and appreciated by the riders. In other words, mechanics, that's what I wanted to say, mechanics often hate working on Yamahas and Yamaha's inventions, or at least they used to hate it in the past. But it seems like Tracer has a pretty solid record without any major flaws. If that's not in line with what you heard, please let me know in the comments. But still, usually Japanese manufacturers stick to what they know. They repeat it and they enhance their solutions, and this in the automotive industry tends to result in often better reliability records than European and American competitors. And I've had an issue with the dealers' Tracer that you see in a video. I don't know what exactly happened, but it happened once, and actually it didn't stop the bike from working fine afterwards. But overall, I would say that it seems like a statistically safe choice in terms of reliability. And who would expect that the 8th reason might be connected with a bit of craziness? And here I wanted to point out that even though when Japanese manufacturers go crazy, it's a disaster, and their designs and things just look like sculptured or wrapped around some video game character, completely missing the tastes of Europeans and most Americans. Here with the Tracer, they allowed themselves for some craziness and only failed in one spot that I'm not going to mention now. But look at those accessories like a heated seat. BMW only started to offer this kind of solution a few months earlier in their revised BMW R1250 GS, so the best seller and the #1 bike. It didn't have it before. Now, bam, Yamaha comes with a new Tracer and it can have it too. And look at this, look at this stupid kind of a stupid idea of giving us 10 stages of heated grips. But look at the blue rims. Look at this exhaust can underneath the bike. And I'm even going to count here the gauges, so the instrument panel, as a positive way of being different, as except from looking like a large insect looking at you, they are basically harmless and they bring that fresh feeling. I know they can be a deal breaker as well, but it's like they didn't go over the top. At least not too much. Now, having many options of customizing the Tracer 9 with the seats, with the windshields that Yamaha screwed up in the first place with, but also with some gadgets like black clutch and brake levers with a lowering kit and many other accessories that are dedicated to Tracer, you may build your very own Tracer when ordering at the dealership. This tells me that Yamaha really paid attention to this particular motorcycle and its potential buyers, which is always a good sign, and I'm proud of them. And well, it worked. A bit crazy and individual, that's definitely not boring, and that's the conclusion in the 8th point. That's what you can get with a Tracer. The 9th reason why you might want to go with a Tracer 9 GT is that it's just easy to choose the GT version and have pretty much all main factory options fitted already. You don't have to make your head busy. And you also get a badge so that others know that you've got a fully spec'd version. In some markets, Yamaha was expecting most of the Tracers 9 to be GT versions. And I think that contributed to it. I think that's also kind of cool that there's a version that got its own name and the logo, and it is distinguished from other regular Tracers 9. And even though not all of the accessories and features are already there in the GT, like those black levers that I've mentioned, so I deeply believe that it does Yamaha and potential buyers a lot of good and makes our choices more clear when it comes to configuring a motorcycle. You know, you choose the path of configuring it yourself, or you go for the like top of the line and you're freaking done with it. So there you have it. Those are my 9 reasons for buying a Yamaha Tracer 9 or a Tracer 9 GT. And please share with us what reasons there are for you guys, or what other ones there may be in the case of Yamaha Tracer 9. And also, to get a full perspective, you might want to check my full review of the Tracer 9 GT and some of possible or potential reasons why some of us might, on the other hand, want to avoid it, to skip it. All the best to you guys, and see you in the other videos. Bye!